Hey there. So I had a student come up to me and ask me to do another breakdown or to do some more breakdowns from time to time because they really enjoy how I roll and they want to learn to make jujitsu effective while not spending crazy amounts of athletic energy. So they wanted me to do more breakdowns of my game to try to emulate it. So I'm going to do a breakdown today of me training with one of my brown belt training partners up in Brooklyn Center. His name is Bennett. Now, I looked particularly for a video in which I was trying to work mostly half guard. That way, get something out of it. A lot of you should be familiar with a lot of the half guard game by now. So here's me on the bottom, and I'm training with a good friend and training partner of mine, Bennett, on top. And I'm having him start in the knee shield position. So first off, with the knee shield, you see I'm on my side here. I'm on my right side, using my top leg, my top knee, as the barrier between Bennett's body and my body. And then you'll see a lot of times when I work knee shield, I'll cross my ankles here to reinforce the position of this knee. Bennett is going to be trying to drive pressure down into me, directly onto my knee. So by keeping my foot reinforced, my left foot in this case is reinforced over the top of my right foot so that when he tries to drive straight into me, my right foot is supporting my left leg. If my feet were crossed the other way and my left leg, my left ankle was behind my right ankle, now when he drives straight into my top leg, my left leg, my foot could also freely travel in this direction toward my butt. Right now, my right ankle is stopping my foot from being driven in this direction, so it helps me to reinforce my knee. So I cross my feet in a very particular way when I'm working knee shield to keep a lot of control of his hip and to keep my knee pressuring into him. So immediately I grab a cross collar grip. That's one of my favorite grips when I'm playing from a guard position. And I connect my knee and my elbow together so I have inside position on Bennett's right arm. Bennett's trying to get his right arm in, and he can't because I've connected my knee and my elbow together, making a good V-frame. Now Bennett goes 2-on-1 on my wrist and breaks the collar grip. That's an incredibly intelligent thing for him to do. If I was in his shoes, that's probably what I would do as well. I don't ever want to let anybody just control my collar like that. So Bennett did a great job breaking the grip. Now you see there, I'm trying to come up into my underhook game. As soon as he breaks the grip, I'm going to try to take my left hand underneath his armpit here. But Bennett is really savvy. He's trained a long time. He's a brown belt in his own right. And he pummeled his own right hand underneath my underhook. So he stole the underhook from me again. You're going to see that happen again. Here I got my arm, my left hand inside of his armpit. But he closed off that space. So he's doing a good job of denying me the underhook. And there we just saw it happen again. I once again saw an opening for the underhook. So here it's briefly open. You're going to see Bennett pummel his hand, and is the underhook right there. Now Bennett has the underhook, and he can use that to flatten me back out. And there I pummel back inside, and he pummels back inside. So there's a lot of jostling for this underhook going on. And you guys should now know the importance of that underhook because we've just spent the last 6 weeks going over attacks that involve me getting into this underhook. So Bennett's doing a great job defensively. Bennett takes his right knee off the floor. We're engaged in hand fighting. I'm controlling over here. I'm going to try to get a better grip for it, or better view, I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get a better view of it. So you see I'm controlling Bennett's left arm. It's kind of hard to see because it's behind my left arm and his right. But my hand is controlling this cuff grip. And that's going to stop Bennett from being able to control my head with a crossface or a reverse crossface. And again, I'm going to try to shoot my underhook, and he stuffs it. Now Bennett is starting to stand up. He's starting to stand up out of my half guard. Certainly not a bad idea. Now that was really good on Bennett's part. Okay, small, it's subtle, but it's important. Watch right now, my knee is inside of Bennett's elbow. Right here, Bennett uses a knee bump to bump my knee to the outside position, and he is now still in the inside position for me. So Bennett's right knee and right elbow control the inside position on my left knee. So my left leg's been shut out to the outside. When that happens, I usually like to take my foot up and over, just like I did, and start pummeling it over his arm as a lasso. So when the knee shield's been blocked out and I can't get the knee inside, then I'll bring the foot inside. So if I can't get the knee inside, I'll bring the foot inside. If I can't get the foot inside, I'll bring the knee inside. So here I have a lasso pummeled in. The lasso is really nice because now as Bennett tries to pass to his left-hand side, my ankle is going to stay inside of this far arm. So it's going to be hard for him to use this far arm, his right arm, to set wedges around my body. Not to mention, I can also use that lasso to off balance him if I make some simple grip changes. Now here I'm heisting up. So let's see why. Let's rewind a little bit. So I'm on my hip. Okay. Because he's starting to get his right knee. I see why I'm doing that. So you can see Bennett has driven his right knee into the pocket of my right hip. So my right leg is being forced to the outside position. So I'm going to heist up to create space between my right hip and his knee. So I have space to get my right leg back in the game. So there's all that space that I needed. Now my right knee can come back underneath of him. And I'm back into my guard. I'll let you guys see that again. So he's starting to beat my right leg. So I heist up. I'm using my collar grip here to stiff arm and keep him away so he can't close the distance with his upper body. And I heist up, and I'm able to recover my right leg position. And I put in a reverse De La Riva hook over here to entangle my leg with his leg. It's hard to see here, but my right foot in the half guard position basically turns into an inside hook, and then I hook my shoelaces on the outside of his thigh. That's what we call a reverse De La Riva hook, and it's a good way to entangle his leg with my leg anytime he gets his foot to the inside position, like he's done. He strips the reverse De La Riva hook, I put it back. Now I finally was able to come up in my underhook. So Bennett got so preoccupied with my leg position that he forgot to fight the arm position, and I got the underhook. Now right here, Bennett actually has good knee position with his knee on top of my hip. What Bennett should look to do is drive his knee to the mat on the left side of my body, forcing me flat. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to scoop my hips away so that I can force his knee to the floor and get his knee off my top hip. So there I scoop my hips away, and he drives his knee back up. So Bennett realizes the benefit of this knee position, of keeping his knee free like this, but he isn't quite sure what to do with it. Again, I think he should try to flatten me out so he can get his knee to the mat. But you guys can see that I have my elbow behind my body, so he's having a tough time flattening me out. I'm driving forward. If my elbow is further in underneath of me, it'd be very easy for him to flatten me out. But because my elbow is behind my shoulders, you can see my shoulders are here, and my elbow, my base of support, is behind my shoulders. So it's hard for him to flatten my shoulders out. I'm probably going to try to scoot again, I imagine, because I'm going to want to challenge that knee position. There's the scoot, and there the knee goes to the mat. He's lost good knee position. Now I'm starting to come over, making an outside hook. Here I'm triangling my legs. And Bennett, for some reason, goes over really easy. Oh, because he's got his, look at how Bennett has his left knee pinched inward. His hips are way out here. He has no base of support for his hips right now because he's pinching his left knee in tight so much. Bennett could have easily avoided this sweep if he would have spread his left knee out wide. But right now he's trying to use his left knee to to keep tight to my hip so I can't get my bottom knee back in the game. By keeping his left knee close to my bottom hip, he shuts out my right knee. But in doing so, he compromises his base of support, making it very easy for me to come up on top and secure top position. Now, an issue here is my head is still caught. So I want to make space between his armpit and my head. So I'm going to grab in the lapel right here, and I'm going to start to push, straightening my right arm to create distance between my shoulder and his shoulder. And I'm able to get my head free. And now I'm ready to start passing guard. And it looks like I probably asked him to do a positional roll because I see that I'm resetting back in the half guard. I'm probably working just on my half guard game right now. So again, I take that cross collar grip. Bennett once again is looking to break that grip. Good for him, but he fails to break it. I try to go into a back roll sweep, which I failed. We're actually going to look at the back roll sweep next week. So I'm trying to go into the back roll sweep here. But the problem is I didn't pull my knees to my chest. So I'm pulling with only my upper body right now, but my knees need to be pulling too. So that's where I messed that up. He breaks that cross collar grip, so that's a good thing for him to do. I no longer have my cross collar grip. He takes his elbow inside of my knee, good for him to do, but he's not able to move my knee. So my knee retains the inside position. He's again trying to get his elbow inside my knee. Here I go for a knee lever. You guys can see I have this sleeve controlled, but since I didn't put my right foot on the floor next to the knee, and I have something like an outside lockdown here, it's not the strongest knee lever in the world. So I was able to kind of off balance his hips just a little bit. I was able to get his hips to come up, but I wasn't able to get his hip outside of his knee, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take his hip and use my knees pinched around his hip to force his hips over here outside of his knee, where his knee will no longer be a good base of support, but he resists it well. I'm controlling his left hand so he can't control my head. He takes his knee off the floor, which is going to make any knee levers hard, so he's defending the knee lever by taking the knee off the floor. And here it looks like I might be trying to get into deep half guard, but Bennett's doing a good job of keeping me out, and he's doing so because of a good cross face. At least it looks like. Oh, actually, my head's inside underneath. Maybe he doesn't have a cross face. Oh, now he does. Okay. So I'm stopping the cross face for now, posting on the shoulder here. You guys are going to see when Bennett dips his body low, he's going to get his bicep inside of my head right there. Now he has a good cross face. His arm is underneath my head, and that's going to stop me from getting in underneath. So I abandoned that strategy or that path. You see me trying to dig in that underhook here again, but Bennett's trying to really keep his arm tight, trying to stop my underhook. I'm up on my elbow prop, once again with my elbow behind my shoulders, and I'm using my elbow prop for power to try to drive my underhook in. And there I get my underhook. Now Bennett, in response to my underhook, immediately tries to jump on a guillotine, and he actually does a good job of using the guillotine combined with butterfly hooks. Watch how when he jumps on the guillotine, he's going to use his right butterfly hook here, the inside position, to elevate my hips and take me over the top. So he uses the guillotine to try to put me back onto my back. I land, I turn into him, and I get the top position. So I end up scoring a sweep out of that. So I'm going to reset back and bottom half again. So that's 2 sweeps now that I've been able to secure that all started with me getting that left underhook and up on my right elbow. The first time, he just accepted the sweep because his left knee was pinched in too tight. And then that second time, he forfeited top position going for a guillotine and gave up a sweep that way. So we're back in the knee shield. So now I'm controlling here at the armpit. This armpit grip is a very, very good grip. We're going to look at this more when we go into the closed guard series. But that's a grip I'm liking more and more recently. So I actually have 2-on-1. You can see I have a cross cuff and a straight armpit. So I'm probably going to use these two grips to try to force Bennett's arm across my center line so I can expose his back. Or if I can get his knee to the floor, I can try to knee lever to my left, and he won't have a base of support to stop the sweep. So we'll see what I try to do with it. Okay, so I had to stop. So I went from an offensive cycle to a defensive cycle. So here I'm trying to go into some attacks. I'm trying to work some offense right now. But as soon as Bennett starts coming up to control my head, I immediately need to go into a defensive cycle. So now I'm going to start posting inside this bicep to challenge his head control. So he still has this grip in my collar, so he has some control of my head. That's going to make it hard for me to realign my center line with his. And it keeps him close to the pocket of my hip, so it's not good for me. Bennett's doing a good job keeping that grip. And there he let it go, so I no longer need to worry about that head control Bennett had. I wonder why Bennett let that go. So he let his collar grip go to address my collar grip. So the thing about my collar grip here is I can use this both as a pulling mechanism to pull on his collar, but I can also use it as a frame by taking the heel of my hand and pushing it into his collarbone. So even though he had a grip on my head, once I grab his collar, I can stop him from coming in chest to chest. So it's going to be tough for him to use this collar grip in any meaningful way. And he's going to look to strip this grip, which is a good thing for him to do. That's not a good grip that's a good grip for me to have. It's not a good grip for him to allow me to have. So he strips that grip and controls the arm. Again, I'm controlling his cuff now, so he can't control my head a second time. Bennett has taken his left knee in tight to the pocket of my hip, so he's beating my bottom knee now. Watch how Bennett's going to take his knee into my hip. That's good for him. Here, and he covers my knee. So now my bottom leg has been shut out of the game. The only thing I can do with my bottom leg now is really make an inside hook. So I go back to my knee shield. Now here, I'm actually giving up on the underhook and I'm going over the top and grabbing a belt grip. So when I go over his shoulder and I reach and I try to grab the belt to control his hips, I'm usually looking to hook sweep. Let's see what I do with it. And in this case, I turn it into a knee lever sweep. That shouldn't have worked. Bennett should have been able to take his right hand in post, I think. I don't know why he didn't. Yeah, Bennett should take his right hand off my collar and use it to base on the mat, but he doesn't. So because he keeps his right hand glued to my collar, he's going to give up a sweep. See, I have some control of the hips here. And I'm going to use a knee lever, that same knee lever I tried before where I've kind of got like an outside lockdown. Again, it's not the strongest knee lever, but in this case, it was enough. Typically, I want to cross basically just my toes right on the outside of his knee. But again, I'm going for this knee lever with an outside lockdown because I started in a knee shield position. So it's a natural transition to go from a knee shield into a quick knee lever that looks like this. So I'm able to force his hips well outside of his knee. Again, that's the mechanic of a knee lever. Is that here's his knee and my two knees are dragging his hip well outside of his knee, forcing him down. And I'm able to secure my top position by quickly hip heisting up to the top. So you see once I'm there, now I'm going to base on my opposite side right foot and left elbow, so my opposite side appendages to lift my hips, and I'm going to place my left knee on the mat as a base of support. There. So a knee lever with a quick hip heist to solidify top position. Back in the knee shield again. Bennett steps his knee up, so knee levers will no longer be effective. This is how you stop a knee lever, is you take the knee off the mat. Again, I go to my cross collar grip. Bennett strips the cross collar grip, good thing for him to do, and there's the end of the round. So I hope you guys learned some cool stuff there. You guys saw me having to struggle as I fight for the underhook against another well-experienced training partner, Bennett. Um, you did see that both times I did get to that strong, deep underhook up on my elbow prop. I got 2 sweeps out of it. The first time was a simple one where Bennett just kept his knee too narrow, and I was able to come up on a wrestling sweep. And then the second time, Bennett put in a front headlock trying to secure a guillotine, which allowed me to come up to the top position. Though he did sweep me over using the guillotine, but I caught myself and I was able to stay on top. Then we saw a couple knee levers to off balance. One knee lever, which was successfully used as a sweep. And then you guys also saw the nuance between fighting for collar grips. Bennett wanted to control my head. I was denying him controlling my head. I was going into a cross collar grip and he was stripping the cross collar grip. So these are some things that, more experienced grapplers, some small little battles that more experienced grapplers are going to be fighting a lot. Looking for cross collar grips, looking for head control, looking for inside position, looking for off balancing, looking for the underhook, which is a form of inside position. Yeah, so that's my training round with Bennett. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys benefited from watching me train the half guard game with somebody who's a little bit more experienced, a little bit tougher. And hopefully you guys can take some pieces of that training session and implement some of those pieces of advice into your own game. Thanks for watching, guys.